Hello everyone, Professor Kurzluk here. So I wanted to make a series of lectures revolving around an introduction to international relations broadly. So maybe what you would find in a 100 or a 200 level introduction to international relations course. So over the course of this series, over the course of several videos, I want to provide a broad introduction to the major concepts, the major debates, and issues that define the field of international relations. Maybe you're taking a intro to IR course, or you just want to know more about international relations. So I wanted to make videos that would help teach students, teach those interested about the main concepts. So my goal is not simply to discuss current events or summarize what is happening in the world at any given moment, like I do in some of my videos. Rather, I want to use these series of videos to lay out the main intellectual foundations of the field and help explain how scholars and students of international politics make sense of a increasingly complex global system. So when we read the news, when we see what's going on in the world, hopefully we can make it make a little bit more sense. So this first lecture is really just meant to serve as an introduction to my larger project that I'll be working on throughout this semester. So before we start discussing specific theories or institutions or cases, I thought it was important to start with a more basic set of questions. We can ask ourselves, what is international relations? Why do we study it as a distinct discipline within political science? What kinds of questions does international relations seek to answer? And why does it continue to matter so much in our contemporary world? So when many people think about international relations, they may think of major global events. They probably think about war. They may envision diplomacy, which includes and involves like summit meetings. They may think of the President of the United States meeting with Vladimir Putin or meeting with other world leaders, trade disputes, which are on the news a lot today, humanitarian crises, which maybe aren't front and center but are still occurring around the world, terrorism, climate negotiations, or something we hear a lot about, shifting great power rivalries between China and the US and Russia. So all of these topics, all of those topics that I just mentioned, certainly fall within the field of international relations. But international relations, as an academic discipline, goes beyond simply that. It asks us to do more than simply follow the headlines in the news. It asks us to think analytically. IR forces us to move beyond the immediacy of events and instead asks us to look and identify patterns, structures of the international system, reoccurring problems of the world, and to dig deeper into the political dynamics causing the world around us. So, in other words, international relations is not simply about knowing what is happening in the world. It is about asking why those things have happened, how it happened, and what broader political forces help explain these phenomena. So we may ask, why does conflict persist in some parts of the world and not others? Why do states cooperate in some circumstances but compete rather fiercely in others? Why do international institutions matter in some moments of time or appear weak and ineffective in others? how do power, ideas, identity, economics, and law interact across borders? So these are some of the kinds of questions that make international relations as a field of study a serious scholarly inquiry, and why people want to understand more about IR to help make sense of the world around them. So over a series of video lectures, I want to lay out the basic architecture of the field. We will examine the major theories scholars use to interpret global politics. We will discuss historical developments in the international system. We will also explore core topics such as states, sovereignty, war, security, diplomacy, and international law. We will also move into broader and more contemporary issues, including things we hear in the news every day about globalization, development, migration, human rights, terrorism, and environmental politics. So things that we hear in the world, in the news around us, I want to make a series of videos that help us make sense of these issues. So international relations at the most basic level, or starting off point, is the study of political life beyond the state. So in comparative politics, in American government, we spend a lot of time thinking about a singular state or how governments function within a state. In international relations, it examines relations among states, but it also includes a wider set of actors, from institutions and processes that shape global politics. So that means the field is not limited to governments alone. It also includes international organizations, multinational corporations, non-governmental organizations, transnational movements, and global norms and institutions. So in that sense, international relations is concerned with how power, order, conflict, and cooperation are organized in a world that is connected across borders, but not governed by a single central authority. So that brings us to one of the central concepts in the field that will occur over and over and over again. That is of anarchy. In everyday language, anarchy often means chaos or maybe disorder. But in international relations, the term has a more specific meaning. It refers to the absence of a central authority above states. So when we think of who has the ultimate authority in the world, anarchy prevails. There is not a central authority. So that is a highlight that we will see emerge over and over throughout the series of lectures. So I will be utilizing a textbook, which I will put the name in the description. But for the videos, you don't have to have a textbook. If you're just a student taking an international relations course, various lectures, various videos will help make sense of, I'm sure, whatever you're learning about that week. So there will be a video on liberalism and a video on realism, various videos on different aspects of international relations, how it emerged and grew as a discipline. So I don't know how many videos this will be. The textbook that I was looking at and thinking about molding my lectures off of has about 13 chapters, so maybe around there for how many videos I'll make. I've taught international relations at several different institutions, ranging from a community college in Nebraska to the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So I have a lot of lectures that I've written over the years related to IR and national security, but I want to make lectures accessible enough to students who are maybe just starting out. Maybe they're assigned a reading on liberalism, so there'll be a video that students can pull out and help learn about liberalism or realism or democratic peace theory or these different aspects of international relations or the role of NGOs. So I won't neatly follow along with any particular textbook, but instead introduce wide varieties of international relations topics that if you are starting out on your IR journey or you just want to learn more about international relations, hopefully these videos will be useful to you. Thank you.